It takes a lot more energy to spread hate than spread love. So why are people constantly hating each other? I think people hate when they feel powerless. Today on rLounge, we can't feed the hate. We have to take what has been dealt to us and allow it to make us a better person. Advice on how to cope after setting boundaries? I'm autistic and have a very, very hard time setting boundaries with my future mother-in-law. I finally managed to do it by telling her I will no longer be coming over ever again and simply stopping going over there. I haven't heard anything out of her, but because I'm also diagnosed with CPTSD, I'm having a hard time not thinking of myself as a mean person or a bad person or like I'm being dramatic. But she's said racist things to me. I'm half black. Things to exacerbate my ED, invalidation to the extreme, insinuated I'm only with him for his money when she lives off of him, steals his debit card at night and saves it to her phone every time he gets a new one, hasn't celebrated his birth in 10 years, etc. Called me lazy, talked crap about my bipolar 1 diagnosis, and talked down on my career as an indie author. So it's a lot, and it took me months to finally set the boundary. But how do I cope emotionally and stop beating myself up? My psychologist keeps saying the right things, but I can't seem to eradicate the bad thoughts. Long Jumping Pain 470 chimes in first. Reframe it. You're not being mean. You're taking care of your mental health and protecting yourself from further harm. Say that over and over. Good for you being your own advocate. GOT Game of Throwaway says, he should also block his card from unauthorized charges. He will receive a text message every time someone attempts to use it, and if he does not select yes, then it is automatically denied. You're not at all being a mean person or a bad person. You're certainly not being dramatic. Your mother-in-law is treating you disgustingly, and you don't deserve that. Racism and blatant invalidation should never be tolerated. Your mother-in-law sounds horrendous. She doesn't even treat her own flesh and blood with respect. You're doing the right thing by setting boundaries. Boundaries are so important. We know that our boundaries have been violated by the way we feel. Feelings of confusion, anxiety, or feeling drained around a person after interacting with a person can all be signs that our boundaries have been violated. We need to call these people out on their crap. You got this. Update. A small win, almost? Me setting the boundary of me never going to his house again because of his mom has made it so he only gets to see me once a week due to work, and no sleepovers since I live with mega religious parents. He asked me to look at apartments with him today. We're going to live together. Without future mother-in-law. Okie Lady 1952 reacts first. How does your super religious parents feel about you living with your boyfriend? The OP replied, I had a talk with them about it an hour ago and it was firm. I was kind, though, and thanked them for giving me a place to heal. I was diagnosed with autism, CPTSD, and bipolar 1 last year, and so they helped me with coping, learning to care for myself, and making a new healthy routine. We all had some tears, but in the end, there is love and they are happy for me. They just wish I would wait until after the wedding happens. Next up is for him to tell future mother-in-law. Move-in date is December 1st. He is giving her more than 30 days notice, and I told him just remember to understand that her reaction is not going to be rational, and that her feelings about you moving out are not your responsibility. He's keyed up and ready to take this step. ATL Mama says, yay! Now make sure you agree on the boundaries of her visits and that she never gets a key. The OP replies, OMG, this is a good thing to remember. Most apartments only give 2 keys, so she definitely will not be getting one. I think it's against the rules at most complexes to make a 3rd key without their permission too. At least at the last 2 complexes I lived at, they said it was breaking my lease if I did. Woohoo! Fantastic! All it takes is a little pushback. Update. He told his mom today. He told her he's moving out. She reacted as expected, weaponizing her tears to claim he was leaving her homeless and destitute. Never mind her $2,000 a month in Social Security. Told him that 41 days notice wasn't enough, and said it was bad timing because she has to take care of her parents, and that she had nowhere to go. Her parents' house has 2 extra rooms. Her brother, my boyfriend's uncle, is a millionaire who owns a business. She says she doesn't want to live with her parents, and that she'd be ashamed to ask her brother for help. But somehow not too ashamed to live off of her son while she shops and spends all her money on herself, ungratefully watching him pay for all the bills. Even though I'm happy we're going to get to live together and proud of him for standing up for himself, I'm heartbroken to watch how he's trying to stay strong, knowing his mother cared more about losing his money than losing him. When I told my parents I was moving out, they said they were overjoyed for us, hugged me and cried because they were going to miss seeing me, and told me they loved us and will be there to help us move. The difference in responses is disturbing. We were going to move December 1st, but I think we're going to move it up to November. Food-fueled nightmare has our first reaction. Mother-in-law doesn't want to live with her parents because they'll more than likely hold her accountable and she'll have more responsibilities than she does now. Mother-in-law probably doesn't want to ask her brother for help because he might lecture her or possibly say no. I'm sure her parents and brother know exactly how she operates. Mother-in-law sees her meal ticket slipping away and she's desperately trying to hold on for dear life so she can spend her money how she likes all willy-nilly. Mother-in-law is probably the type of parent that believes that her children owe them for being born, raising them. Loving that your mother-in-law is receiving what is most likely an overdue reality check. Congratulations on your next step as a couple. Wishing you both all the luck there is in the world. Enjoy your new place. 5-Flight Win Mother-in-law says, so she doesn't want to live with her parents, but she's mad that he no longer wants to live with his? Apprehensive Way 837 says, so she doesn't want to live with her parents, but she wants to force him to do exactly that? Oh, the irony. So selfish of her, OP. I'm so sorry for you both. It's not you or your partner's problem that it's apparently bad timing and that she has to take care of her parents. Who knows if that's even true? I don't understand how these kinds of people think that others will just take their BS behavior forever. They can't see the rug being pulled out from under them. Although it is bittersweet that your partner is now only coming to terms with his mother's ways, it's necessary. You don't need people like that in your life, especially her racist behind. Update. We went apartment hunting today. We found the perfect one on our second showing, and when we were doing the application, it asked for emergency contact for him. He couldn't put his mom, so we had to put my mom for him. I was so sad, and he was struggling later on. This is really hard for him. But I'm really excited. The place is perfect for us. So cute and the most phenomenal location. I just wish this could be a happy moment he could share with his mom, but she's so selfish. I will do my best to make it a happy home. Update. Worst conversation yet. So today, my birthday party, he was late. When he came, he looked really embarrassed and upset, and I was like, what happened? He tells me he had a talk with his mom. Basically, he told her we found an apartment and are about to get approved. Passed rental screening, income, and credit checks, just waiting on my previous complex to fill out the rental verification form, and thought that it would be a good time to have the conversation since she was in a good mood. Wrong. She screamed at him, telling him that I was crazy with a lot of mental issues, bipolar 1, CPTSD, autism, and no job. I'm a student who has published novels? Bro. And that he was going to throw his money away on an apartment when he could just get a starter home with a mother-in-law suite. And she also basically told him to just leave tomorrow and she wouldn't give an F. And when he repeatedly said he didn't want to live with her, she got angrier and angrier and nastier. He blocked a lot of it out. But he says she kept trying to bring me into it, and he kept telling her it wasn't about me, and she just kept going and going. It's honestly the worst she has done and said yet. He looked so broken. He told her he would pay her rent for her until May, and then a stipend of $600 a month, and she said that wasn't enough. He was horrified. So my parents and I told him we want him and he is wanted here at our home. We told him to pack some of his things and come stay here until our move-out day, and he's about 85% there. I can see him hanging on, hoping if he gets his brother involved in a family discussion it will get better. I told him you cannot buy your mother's love. There is no amount that will ever be good enough for her, and he just looks so upset. I feel so sad for him. I cannot imagine how it must feel to be loved so little, to be nothing but a wallet. My sister also was frank with him and said her anger and obsession with his money is concerning and that it might be dangerous to stay there. He hesitated before saying, "My mom wouldn't do that. That'd be horrible." But there was something in his facial expression. Right now, he's heading over to his boss's house to talk to him about all this. He's his mentor, so he will help give him some insight on the man's point of view. He will probably tell him it's a good idea to come stay here too, and that should hopefully get him that last 15% there to his decision. This is so hard. Just when I think she can't become even more of a horrible piece of poop, she gets stinkier. Such a disgusting person doesn't deserve to be his mother. He deserves to be much better than her. Seagull Mom chimes in first. She really said the quiet part out loud, didn't she? Her complaint that he wasn't buying a home with a mother-in-law suite explains literally everything. She wants to live with him forever. He's going to get a lot worse from her before it gets better. He's going to need to be supported and loved extra hard because, frankly, she sees him solely as her property and a means of financial support. Be prepared to help him get into counseling, to get him physically as far away from her as possible so that he can have some breathing room from her. Be prepared for her to manufacture emergencies so that he'll feel obligated to bail her out financially or materially. she absolutely will be manipulative and disrespectful to you both. I'd strongly suggest having him continue to pay rent until he moves away from her home. Then he should cut his monetary support. She will throw a massive tantrum, which is going to be malicious as F, but he needs to see her clearly for himself. Purple Paper Bag chimes in next. I don't think that dealing with a hateful person like this is going to go well ever for kind-hearted people like you and significant other without some professional help if you both are up for it. I just mean to learn how to shut her demands down and to be able to live well as a couple without giving in to her. I'm so glad significant other has a mentor that he can discuss this with. Your mother-in-law is an entitled person with a very ugly personality. I don't know if she works or has any other income, but it is time for her to figure out her own life without relying on significant other and ultimately you. $600 a month is very generous, and anyone that scoffs at that needs a reality check. Let her live her life without that and see how much fun she gets to have. I would even recommend that your significant other stops with the financial support the day he moves out. Thank God for your parents, OP. It's refreshing to know that he has people he can turn to. It's also unfortunate that he thinks he can buy his mother's favor through money. Nothing is enough for this woman. She's a total leech and needs to control every aspect of her life. She's blowing up because she's losing that control over him. Good for you and your partner. Get out of her clutches. You two will totally be fine. What do you make of mother-in-law's behavior? Have you ever been in a similar experience? What did you do? Thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below. Until next time.